learned something fascinating this morning. Do you want to know what I learned? Yeah. All right. While Lance Bass over here was busy touring the world with NSYNC, he actually had a secret desire. He always wanted to be a hand model.
That's right.
Seriously? I did not know that. That's true, right?
It's true, yeah. It's a joke that I've had with my friends for a very long time because it's all about the nail beds, okay? And I think I have really good nail beds, right?
Wait, like you mean like the cuticle beds?
There's not that little white thing, you know how you have the circle?
The
half moon. I don't have that. So I'm like, I should have been a hand model. So it's been the biggest joke of my husband and I. He gets so upset when I bring it up.
Why didn't you do it?
Well, I detoured into the NSYNC world, so I didn't get to do it.
You get paid a lot of money, right, Liliana?
Yeah.
There's only like a couple hand models.
Yeah, there's only like a few like really elite hand models in the world.
They wear gloves every single day.
They wear gloves to protect their hands because their hands are insured for like millions and millions of dollars.
You actually can if you want because they now have hand lifts. Actually, they've been around for a very long time, but because of all the women doing the engagement selfies, they're getting hand lifts. All you need is $1,200 and about 15 minutes of your time, and they can take 10 years off the look of your hands.
I love it.
They use lasers and all these plumping devices to make you fill out your hands, and it's become very, very popular.
Look, this is good because the two places people look for your age is right here and your hands. So this would, you know, everyone's looking at your hands like, how old are you? Okay.
Well, I know, I have old hands because my husband every Christmas, he's so funny, he believes in this. He puts hand cream in my stocking and he says, always take care of your hands. He's like, because people, when you shake hands or look at people's hands, you can tell their age. And I'm like, well, what are you saying?
I always say that, yeah.
I'm like, I'm not that old.
You take care of your hands and your feet because that's, you know, your feet carry you and you use your hands so much. Those are your buddies.
I'm about to save all you $1,200. For 99 cents, you can buy an app in the App Store, and you can use it to like smooth out your hands, add a soft filter. I use it all the time.
Really?
Yes, look. Okay, I use it all the time. So that's my so that's my beforehand, which ages me. Look at the knuckles. I have wrinkly knuckles. Does anyone else have really wrinkly knuckles?
I have
but in the second one, you have no knuckles.
Yeah, I know. That means that they're like a 5-year-old. I have the hands of a 5-year-old in the second photo. I love it.
All right. Moving on. You have beautiful hands.
Thank you.
Yes, all of you. All right. There is a heated debate going on at a high school in Indio, California, because some students have started to display anti-LGBT stickers on their IDs. The stickers show a rainbow, which is a symbol of the gay community, with a line through it. Now, there are other students and teachers who are outraged by this. They say that this is hate speech, it should be stopped. But the school administration says, well, actually, they have a First Amendment right. And unless it becomes verbal or physical abuse, we cannot stop them. It is free speech. So what do you think of this? Is it hate speech or free speech?
Of course it's hate speech. I mean, what else is this? Look, I respect freedom of speech, of course, but this is hate speech. Replace this with an Asian person, someone with Down syndrome, a black person. You know, if you had a circle with a line through them, that's hateful. And as a...
about the artwork in a school where there was a child had drawn a picture, or a teenager, drawn a picture of a police officer pointing a gun at a student. And there were some people, including a parent of one of the kids there, who said, that's hate.
Well, this is how it's different.
And the school said, I'm sorry, they have every right to do this.
This is how it's different. That was a class assignment, whereas this is the view from her eyes, what she sees the world as. This is hating a group of people at your school. So now these kids fear that these kids are going to beat them up or harm them. So these kids are not going to learn because they're scared for their life going to school.
Right, and I think you have the right to be educated without being fearful of your classmates. It's a school, you know? It doesn't matter the reason I think people get upset because they're like, oh, well, you can have LGBT rainbow stickers on your locker, but they're not promoting hate. They're being inclusive. They're promoting love for everybody, not singling out one specific group. Doesn't matter what the group is. It's hate speech.
Right. I agree with you. I don't think what they did was right. But the hard part with the First Amendment, it protects free speech, free religion, free press, unless there's a clear and present danger to the kids. If they, as they said, as she does, I agree. If they present harm, if they get physical, if they get verbal, then the school can take action. This is a hard part of our country. Not that I agree with it.
It's going to eventually lead to that.
And if it does, then they're wrong.
That kind of attitude.
It's very
hard.
Why
do we allow? And I agree that the school to me is where I draw my line because it's within what should be a safe zone. But then I remember when I was. I think I was a reporter at the time, maybe even not. Remember was a famous march in Skokie, Illinois, where the KKK went through, and a lot of people felt those are promoters of hate, and that whole town was against it, and the ACLU had to defend them and said they have the right to do it.
And they do, but this is a school. This is a government.
That's why I'm drawing the line myself.
For me, and when I was in school, and I was one or maybe two other black kids where and they decided they wanted to wear Confederate flags when we were in 7th grade on the back of their jackets.
What would they put on the back?
They put Confederate flags on the back of the jackets, and I took offense to that because I understood what that meant silently, what they were saying to me. And I went to the principal's office and I said something, and they had them remove it. So I was glad that I didn't want to go to school with people who felt that kind of way openly about me, because to me, it's like, what's going to stop you from doing something to me while I'm in school? And you're right. We should not have fear while we're in school and learning.
And that flag almost validates what they do to you in an odd way. Yeah, okay. Well, we've said our piece on that. When it comes to schools, speaking of schools, students are routinely assessed around the country using standardized test scores and observations, obviously by administrators and their teachers. But what about turning the tables a bit? Should students be allowed to grade their teachers? Now, some argue, we got some students here.
How many teachers here?
Some argue that it's the students who have the best knowledge of what's going on in that classroom. Nobody else is there but them, and they can actually provide great insight. Others say it may be an opportunity for a student who has a grudge against a teacher to say something that isn't even true because they want to get back at them. So what do you guys think?
You can see through those. It's like a Yelp review. You know the ones that are just writing a bad review to write a bad review. So, but the average, the information that you're going to get out of the average of these kids is a good information, I think, and good data to have on these teachers.
Yeah, and it's been common practice in universities and schools across the country, and I think it's fantastic. My brother is a high school teacher, and he loves this idea because it allows him to get feedback to be a better teacher. You know what I mean? He has a lesson plan that he's given by the state, but this way he can work with his administrators to say, how can I be a better teacher to the kids that are actually learning?
On the other hand, it might depend on when you take that little survey, because I remember my kids in middle school, all three went to the same school. They all had the same history teacher in middle school. They all, I hate to use the word hate, but hated this teacher. In the first few months, they said, she's so mean, she's so strict, she picks on us, she does every single, and my kids are very different. At the end of the year, said she was the best teacher they'd ever had. She motivated them. She pushed them. She wasn't being mean. They finally realized, no, she wasn't. She said, I demand the best from you I can get. So it's very interesting. But if you had taken a survey with them in October, forget it. She would have been, every single kid would have said, get rid of her.
But
so
also,
I don't know.
It's a good point because it gives students, sometimes I think students feel helpless. And it can give them a voice that they don't feel like they're being heard, and they can give honest feedback. So I think it empowers a student to be able to speak up and say, like, something's not right, here's what you can fix.
Well, it depends on what the repercussions is for the review.
If it's anonymous, too.
I'm just going to be honest, and it was some weak claps out there. Some people agree with me. When I was a kid, I would have given my teachers an F just to get rid of them. So you give a lot of power. No, seriously.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Seriously, I would be F across the board. I don't believe in giving so much power to the students because, you know what, you have to let the teachers go in and be teachers and teach without having to pacify children at the same time.
It's not pacifying, but it's also like maybe we all get reviews in life. You're going to get reviews no matter what age you are. We all get feedback. So maybe it's a great way to feedback, whether how you use that feedback, it's a different thing, you know?
Moving on, men have their man caves, right? We give them that. What about women? We get nothing. Nothing.
You get the whole house.
How about if we had a place of our own to hunker down and get away from it all? Well, guess what? We have it now. It's called the She Shed. It is a female-friendly home away from... Look at these. Look at these sheds. Look. That's an example of one.
It's nicer than my apartment.
This is gorgeous. You just need a little bit of property. Look at that. They range in price from like around $600 to upwards to $20,000. I mean, how lovely.
I mean, that is nicer than my apartment. And that's bigger than my apartment.
I just want to lean to with a big bottle of Chardonnay. I don't even care. Right?
That's so beautiful.
She shed, though. It sounds like a woman's shedding hair all over the place.
But my thing is, if you have something like that, what do you need to go back home with your husband for?
You don't. You don't. That's the blessing. All right.